Hey, Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P all finally behaving nicely again after a little bit of a pullback. Apple and Tesla the last couple of days took a little bit of a hit. But here to talk of us and make sense of everything, John Kirkland, of course, Ironridge Global. Ironridge is an equity investor. These guys fund the public companies, okay? So these guys provide money to the companies that you're investing in. John, good to have you along, pal. How you doing?
Hey, Sully, thanks.
Good to see you. Now, I had probably about 16 emails last time you were on because you made a comment about inflation being so low, and of course today you're going to talk a little bit why inflation's so low. Is this hyperinflation we've heard about and it never happened, and now we got low inflation? Are we worried that inflation is too low, that there's going to be a bubble here? What's going on?
Well, the Fed is. Our good friends at the Federal Reserve want us spending more money.
Yeah,
sure. They say that the banks now have $2.8 trillion in reserve, and households, individual families, have another $2.2 trillion. That's got to add up to at least $3 or $4 trillion.
Weren't we supposed to save? I thought I got that memo.
when I was 5, my mom called it saving, not hoarding, but the Fed calls it hoarding
money.
They want you to go out and spend.
TV show.
Buy a suit, Sully. That's good for the economy.
Yeah, come on, Sully. Did you get the memo?
I'm not going to buy a suit.
Communist tie.
I have one suit. I wore it to that damn San Diego Taxpayers Association.
You look good.
I did look good.
Yes.
But I bought a damn suit, and here it sits in the thing. I had one thing in it.
I'm not the button on that dinner, though, didn't you?
I really did.
That was good.
It was so you talk about banks having $2.8 trillion, and we talk about investors being on the sidelines. Is that just a function because everybody's still scared, gun shy of what happened?
Well, what happened is that amount of money under savings is now 50% higher than it was 5 years ago, and that's because 5 years ago everybody got wiped out, and now they're afraid to go back in the water.
Okay.
So I'm gonna channel Sun Tzu or the Oracle of Omaha and say, be greedy when others are fearful, and be fearful when others are greedy.
Yeah, buy straw hats in the winter, I believe. Is there any other? Can you do any more?
I like
Sun Tzu.
I got bumpersticker.com right here. I'll whip a couple out.
Thank you.
That's a good. You'll make a fortune on that.
I think so.
William Buffett though is he is sort of the buy straw hats
Warren.
in the winter. I mean,
Jimmy.
you have to love
The whole Buffett family, very talented.
Yeah, he loves the fact when we are scared, because that's where opportunity thrives. But how much
you have to go against the herd. If you're going to be a lemming, then there's no money to be made.
So let's talk about that for a second, because one of the issues, and you brought this up a couple weeks ago, is that the millennials are so scared that they're not investing at all. And it's because they saw what happened to their parents, but they're missing out on one of the biggest rallies in stock market history as a result of that.
Yeah, for the tragedy is, if any of those people, instead of saving that money under their mattress for the last 5 years, had it anywhere in the market, it'd be worth a lot more.
Well, sure, right.
And some of the millennials still watch their parents because they're right down the hall. They're just upstairs. Get out of the basement.
Are you living with your parents, or are your parents living with you? That's the question.
Good question.
Wow, I don't want either.
Stuck in the middle.
I don't want
a kid over here.
I got my parents set up.
Yeah.
Don't bother me.
That's right.
They don't even have my phone number.
Warm.
My mom can email
3,000
me.
miles away.
Nice little igloo.
Listen, Bob, I never can get a hold of you anymore. It's only because my mom's only allowed to email me. No, that's right. You don't want your parents living with you. You want to set them up and I don't want their kids living with me either.
Right.
I'm changing numbers. I'm moving out of the city.
Those small houses are looking good to me.
Should we, as investors, because you always hear about money on the sidelines, and money on the sidelines is good for opportunity. Cash is king when there's, but too much money on the sidelines as an investor is not always a good thing, right?
For us, we always talk about having a big pile of cash that's just going to waste, because if the money's not invested, it's not working for you.
Right.
So you got to have savings so that if you lose your job or the world comes to an end, you have enough money to get by on. But you need to invest that money if you want your money working for you.
Yeah. I love when I ask John, hey, how's business? You guys making money? He goes, depends on the day, and which means he's investing. You have to love that.
There are no mediocre days. For us, it's either fantastic, the world is wonderful, or oh my God, I'm going to jump off a roof
What
somewhere.
bridge are you on? Yeah. Wow.
John Moore,
like that.
John Moore, watching us in Dallas, Texas, just sent me an email. If you had $1,000, where would you invest it today? You're the perfect guy to ask that.
For me, my business is every day making bets on microcaps.
Yeah.
So for me,
do you like microcaps as for Joe Sixpackers? That should be a piece of their investment portfolio.
If he's only got $1,000, I would invest in food and clothing. If you've got
Russ is writing that down.
Right, got it here.
Make a note. If you've got money to put in the market, then I would put the biggest chunk in something safe: bonds, large cap stocks.
Sure, right.
But you have to take a piece,
Yeah.
10%, 20%, depends on your risk, and put it in super high risk. I had a friend of mine from San Diego, and he looked at his brokerage statement in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he goes, there's a mistake here. He calls up his broker. There's a mistake. There's too much money in my account. And the guy says, well, you remember that little company with the funny name that I told you about?
What
He
was
goes,
it?
Oh, yeah, what was that again? Oh, yeah, Qualcomm.
Wow.
That's what happened.
You have to swing for the fences or you're never going to make the big returns. But don't do it, for God's sake, with all your money. But make sure you do it with some of your money.
Thank you, John. John Kirkland, Ironridge Global, ironridgeglobal.com, made a huge contribution for the Challenge Athletes Foundation. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Now, can you get all your rich friends to do the same thing, and I'll be set? Actually, I want you to ride on that ride with me next year. So we have to talk after.
Yeah,
Thank you,
but
John.
depends what day you ask them.
Yeah. That's,
You got to get me on a good day. That's the key.
yesterday was a good day.